Hello everybody, and welcome to Marvel Avengers Alliance here on G for G. I'm your host Napalm Dawn. Today we're going to go ahead and talk about a slightly overlooked method of working with heroes that do the forced join-in. And by that I mean people who pull you into extra attacks, follow-up, and counters by some kind of a passive. As we all know, the current PvP darling for that is our chick, Spitfire. She's really good at that. She provides that passive called United. Now, everybody knows all the team-ups that you can achieve with that kind of double up on the effect and are really good. It's really obvious to build a team around Spitfire where the level 1 is a very good thing. Pesty with Generalized, ASG with Spreading Webbed, you have your Psylocke, your Ares, your Rocket Raccoons, your Union Jacks, your Spider-Man Noirs, all of those guys who have something very interesting they do in their level 1 or build themselves off of follow-ups and counters. Well, in this particular video, I'm going to show you another side of working with Spitfire that results in something that you may not have initially considered at first. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and find my inhuman buddy, Gorgon, to start off with. Which for some reason I keep missing him because there he is. So, I have brought Gorgon into combat with me, and you may be wondering, okay, kind of don't see the synergy between the two. Well, you will once combat starts and potentially we get the follow-ups over here. First thing I want to do before you even ask about it, you may say, alright, what's the PvP application of this? It's possible, looks good, what about the Hugin's Eye? Well, Gorgon is not quite as susceptible to the Hugin's Eye as you think. And I'll show you why when it's his turn. Gorgon has ground and unarmed for two of his abilities. He also has melee and unarmed. The Hugin's Eye works off of melee unarmed. This is a ground attack. This is also his counter slash follow-up. So maybe now you might kind of be getting the idea of where we're going with this. This video is dedicated to people who follow up and counter with AoE, which is a phenomenal way of splashing damage all over the field without targeting people with the AoE and thereby potentially proccing retaliation. So, I have brought the Blind Justice on my agent. That is to try to help things along in case Spitfire's passive doesn't go off. Now, when I first recorded this video, Spitfire's first turn here with Gorgon, she procced it. It was really good. The video ran a little long, and I wanted to kind of knock it down a little bit. But there it is. He countered with Dance of Death, which is an AoE attack. And he's probably going to die. And he countered again with Dance of Death. So that is basically untargeted AoE. And that follow-up is AoE. So if we look at the enemy team now, they're all kinds of beat up. Because Gorgon AoE twice. And he also gives himself breakthrough when he does it. Which means his next attack is going to do a lot of damage. The other good thing is, there he goes. So he's just AoEing the shit out of everybody. That's just really good. And that's what this video is going to be. So Gorgon's the first one that I wanted to bring up. Gorgon also, similar to SpitLord, provides a rising up passive. The only difference is that whereas SpitLord has to act in order for you to get the rising up, he provides it at the beginning of every round through his passive called Intensive Training. He also has Intimidating Presence, which applies Intimidated and Demoralized to all enemies before any action. To be honest, I rarely ever see that go off. But the other good synergy here is that he has on his big level 9 Finest Hour and Paragon Exploiter. So he spreads some pressure point debuffs over here, mostly off of Field of Thunder. What you can do is outfit Spitfire with the pressurized ISO and make her spread the pressure points for Gorgon. That means so that when it comes time for his level 9, hopefully Spitfire has spread a lot of pressure points around. You can use the Neuro Purge, amongst other things, spread it around too. Now, one of the things that not a lot of people have talked about when they've talked about these like follow-up groups and everything like that has been the use of the Neurotrope. The Neurotrope aids everything along because unless the Neurotrope's passives are purged, the next time your people are attacked, they will do a forced counterattack. So when using a team up like this on offense, where it's a little less risky for a Blackest Void or a scroll to be used because you're going to control when you use the Neurotrope, and the AI might not even use the removals anyway, it's a good thing to do. So please always remember, if you're going to use something like Spitfire or a follow-up counter group, you can always run the Neurotrope. The other thing is, if you happen to have the Scroll of Aknazak, you can use the Neurotrope, which is a quick action, and then use the Scroll of Aknazak behind it, and you will seal in your buffs. That means you will seal in the counter, and you will seal in the rising up. So we're going to go ahead and end this pretty quickly over here, because Sin is kind of wrecking us. But Spitfire is going to go ahead and fix everything about herself right there with that one attack. So Gorgon didn't last too long there, and that's because he's a bruiser with a blaster over there. But you saw what happened. He just constantly followed up with AoE. So the next team up that we're going to go ahead and bring here is a hero that has been backburnered for a really long time. Nobody really whips him out anymore for anything. But he was one of my friend's favorite people to bring to PvP. My friend RJ used him many seasons ago for quite some time. And he actually has a very good combo unto himself that allows him to really ramp up nicely. And he builds it himself. And that's our boy, Shatterstar. I like to call him Shatterstar. It's Joe. Shatterstar basically has a 3-part combo that can be executed in 2 rounds. It's a 9-2-6. 9 in one round and then 2-6 in the next round. And it does huge damage. Now, he's a scrapper in the face of a bruiser heavy meta, but then again, so is Spitfire. I will say that all of the experimentation that I've done with Spitfire, the rapier and the Cosmic Cardinal coming from my agent proc like crazy. They proc more often than other heroes do. So, if you have Spitfire, definitely get yourself a Cosmic Cardinal, and I really hope you have the rapier, because she goes with those 2 items like peanut butter and jelly. I mean, it's great. So here, we're going to open up with Gladiatorial Carnage on the Power Armor. He's going to take 2 actions next round. Now, the Rapier followed up, which is kind of bad because we want the Power Armor to live a little bit. So I'm going to stop these guys from following up with a Hailstorm. And I'm going to go after Sin because she's got the most hit points. Now, here I am using the Blind Justice. The Blind Justice says I may counterattack single target attacks, and I may follow up with my own single target. So there goes there we go. There's Shatterstar. He followed up with AoE, which is Blade Maelstrom. I do believe he has an ISO that turns his Pain into Pain Train, and Pain Train is pretty solid. The other good thing is he's not unarmed melee, so he has less issues with the Hugin's Eye. Again, if you're finding that you have a lot of issues with Hugin's Eye and everything, please don't forget, Staggered shuts down the Hugin's Eye. I prefer the Scroll of Runa Marath to do it, but a Manvatar is really good with it because it's AoE and it's temporal. Also, anything that puts out Opportunist 100% of the time applies Staggered. It is a given. Anytime anything puts out Opportunist, Staggered 100% of the time goes with it. So the X-Obliv, the Scroll of Runa Marath, all of those things will always put out Staggered. So, the second part of the combo is to Mojo Skewer somebody. And then they follow, well, he's just going to kill everybody. And then you follow it up with the Vibro Shockwave, which exploits. So, yeah, a bigger hit than that. What you just saw on Sin, it's even stronger than that. But you got to see Shatterstar and Gorgon doing AoE as follow-ups. So now we're going to bring one more team up over here that actually is one that is not recommended to do now. And that is because of the Hugin's Eye and the escutcheon stacks. And that's Quicksilver. One, do not expect these two to get 4 in a row. It doesn't work that way. But do expect them to clog up the beginning of the turn order. This will happen every time these two are brought together. One of them will go first, then an enemy, and then the other one will go next. Good and bad. It's really good if you have a high, super high offensive armory and you've bought a lot of the new red fists and everything like that. You have a high attack armory and you just muscle things out of the way. I wouldn't run the Age of Ultron Quicksilver for that. I would run good old blue suit Quicksilver, Bisquick. I find Bisquick is way stronger than our Quicksilver. The other thing is that do understand you're going to crowd your agent out of acting anytime at the beginning of combat. So if it's really important for you to get it out of Blackest Void or use the weather control device, set up an exhaustion, use neurotrope, it's not going to happen. But there is something in the game that will help you. It's not available anymore because it came from a Spec Ops, but there is an item that I call the ComCom. It's the Combat Communicator. The Combat Communicator is kind of a gray looking T-Bolt glove. If you have the Combat Communicator, you can beat out Quicksilver for the beginning of combat. This isn't anecdotal evidence. This isn't third-party evidence. Oh, my cousin's brother's son's roommate's former nephew band teacher saw it happen. No, I have seen it happen. Trust me when I tell you that I've used the Combat Communicator in PvP and I have beaten Quicksilver. The other thing is that the Combat Communicator is slightly buggy. It doesn't take your turn and put it at the beginning of combat and that's it. Your natural turn occurs in the order and it injects a turn at the beginning. So you will go once, stuff happens, and then you go again all in the first round. So you take 2 turns in the first round when it actually procs properly. So that's kind of a scary device if you have it. And if you're finding that you are running into a lot of Spitfires on defense, you may want to consider running it. So, you saw Quicksilver followed up with Tag Team over there. That's because it procced off of the Blind Justice. And as you can see, he AoE'd. So, if you were to equip his level 2 with bleeds, you further help Spitfire. Spitfire likes bleed. She spreads bleeds herself. Alright, there goes Quicksilver. So now you can see what can happen when you are running these two together. I wouldn't recommend it because the Hugin's Eye is going to be a big issue. If you can get around the Hugin's Eye by applying Staggered, remember this, if your agent is going so late, when are you going to apply the Staggered? You're probably going to be doing all single target in the first round. But you may be able to seriously punch somebody out before they even get a turn. So, if I'm looking at, say, Pesty and Enchantress, and both of these guys go right for Pesty and allow me to set up immunities or easy cleansing, yeah, it's a possibility you'll take Pesty right out before anybody gets a really good turn. Amazing Spider-Girl, you may be able to take her out before she gets a turn and start spreading webbing. So, it's got advantages, but it also has some serious disadvantages to run a team of SpitSilver. So after this, we're going to do one more team up, and this one is a little bit more common, and it's one that everybody's going to expect, and it's one that, you know, there are videos on it, but it does fit to the theme of this video, so we will definitely be running it in this video. But as you can see here, things are kind of going as planned. Quicksilver's joined in a few times on AoE. My agent has done some brawls. But it's all coming. This is more of a video on the Blind Justice than it is for Spitfire. She hasn't activated her passive at all over here for some particular reason. My agent, however, with the rapier, he's been doing a pretty good job over there. Rapier goes, Cosmic Cardinal goes, we'll do Sleeping Tiger. And she's going to restore her health and stamina thanks to Lifelink. Or not? That's a little strange. I didn't think it had to be Lifelink that killed it. It's... Okay, so she activated her Fiery Fist, and that's because of the Blind Justice, and there goes my agent. Having a shit ton of fun over there. Hopefully we don't get another reinforcements. I kind of am just about ready to end this combat over here. Now, the Lantern of Doom is with me, and in case you are... Yeah... When an enemy is knocked out from... Oh, okay, it is from the attack. That's a little strange. I thought I've seen it proc when other attacks have done it. I think it's if they die in that round. Like, if I lifelinked him and... Oh, wait. She's back up to... Huh. Okay, it's just acting a little bit strange right now. But yeah, if you do, I mean, obviously Age of Ultron Quicksilver does bring the chance to counter melee attacks, which of course is, you know, it's pretty good in its own right, but I don't think he's as powerful as BSQS. And Sin's about ready to die. Hopefully she dies on that Cosmic Cardinal, which was really weak. She bleeds out. Okay. So, for the final team up over here, we'll do the one that everybody is expecting, and it's Team SpitLord. However, it does certainly go with the theme because Star-Lord follows up with AoE. And it's a very good AoE. It's an AoE that applies Rising Up. Plus, he provides us with 12% of a plan, which can give Spitfire 3 turns. So, as you can see here, I'm running Comic Lord, not move... Hey! There we go. There's We Will Win. There's United. So now, Star-Lord's going to join in with AoE. That gives us Rising Up, which is phenomenal. My agent joins in with the Cosmic Cardinal. Joins in with the Brawl. And he could have even joined in with the Rapier. If I had applied bleeds on that attack... I may have even procced the Devourer, which would spread more bleeds. The Devourer is kind of semi-unique for Agent Gear. The Devourer does it like this. The Deathly Freeze Ray does it like this. When the Devourer follows up or counters, or when the Deathly Freeze Ray follows up or counters, well, it doesn't follow up, it counters. It's AoE. But it is AoE that doesn't specifically have a target. Now, if you use the Devourer or the Deathly Freeze Ray and you're a tactician, you'll piss off an infiltrator on the other side. They'll get in your face, but when it follows up or when it counters, you don't suffer retaliation for that. And that's where they're really good. The Devourer, if it starts proccing a lot, can decimate a team. It could get you to 3 stacks of bleeds so quickly your head will spin. By the way, slight piece of trivia for you. If you put the Devourer with the Black Knight, and Black Knight uses his level 1, the Devourer stacks 2 stacks of bleeds at a turn instead of just 1. So if you like bleed teams, that's certainly something to look into. And we all know right now, Black Knight is kind of broken. Something is really wrong with him in PvP. So we're going to draw a lot of single target attacks over there. And of course SpitLord's going to spray and pray again. So this is a good group. And Gorgon is also a good group to consider running the Scroll of Aknazak if you have it. Here's something else. Watch what happens. Spitfire killed her target, but Spray and Pray still went off. The reason why Spray and Pray still went off is because when your follow-up or your counter is AoE, it doesn't matter if your main target dies, you will still get your extra attack in. But if it's single target, obviously you have nothing left to attack. So that's something else to consider when you're running AoE follow-up. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope I brought out an aspect to follow-up types of teams that maybe you didn't realize before. And believe me, SpitLord and Gorgon could do some serious... Well, I think Gorgon a little bit better than SpitLord, but SpitLord does bring other tricks to the battle. But Gorgon is phenomenal with Spitfire, and he's not as bad against the Hugin's Eye and the Scutcheon stacks because of the fact that he does ground attacks with that. So, take care everybody. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you got some ideas from this particular video. Take care everybody.